Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
Welcome to T-Mobile Tuesday Night Baseball, and we welcome you to Great American Ballpark in downtown Cincinnati. It's the opening game of this three-game series between division rivals. The Chicago Cubs in town to take on the Reds, winners of 2 in a row. And hi again, everybody, alongside Chris and Bubbles Welsh. This is Bubbles. Hello, Bubbles. And Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us. Bark in the Park night tonight. And the Reds are hoping, who knows? I mean, a lot of people thinking they're dead in the water, Chris, but the bottom line is they're only 5.5 games out of the wild card, and they have a chance to play some teams quite a bit that are still in front of them.
Well, remember what the last time the Cubs happened when they were in town. The Reds won 4 out of 5, and it got them going. So now you've got 6 remaining with the Chicago Cubs. They played well against them over the last few years. You played well against Pittsburgh. You got 6 against them. St. Louis, you got to figure out a way to beat the Cardinals, and, of course, the Milwaukee Brewers. So it is right there in front of you if you're the Cincinnati Reds. Your destiny is in your own hands.
Let's talk about the starting pitcher for the Reds, having a great season, right in the hunt for the National League Cy Young Award, and that would be Johnny Cueto. And much like the Reds, he loves facing the Cubs.
You're not kidding about that. I mean, just the last few games against the Cubs, Johnny has smelled the end of the ball game, and he just goes right after it. 5-0 with a 1.3 earned run average. You got to figure that going into this game, Johnny Cueto's confidence against this Cubs team is soaring. So the Reds now put 2 together in a row. They've got Cueto on the mound tonight. They've got to feel pretty good about themselves.
And you look at the pitching matchup head-to-head, the overall season numbers against a one-time Red Travis Wood.
Travis Wood had a breakout year last year. He pitched 200 innings. He came close to 500. He did not sign a long-term deal that the Cubs dangled out there for him. But this year he's 7 at 11. His control is a little bit iffy right now. He's walking way too many batters, and for a fly ball pitcher in this ballpark, that could be a problem.
And normally Wood has pitched very well against his former team at ERA at 3.6, but he's been a tough luck loser, 5 of 6 decisions. When we come back, digging the long ball. Todd Frazier flexing his muscles over the weekend. Jim Day will have that when we return to Fox Sports Ohio.
They say if you're going to go, you got to go now. You got to make a run while you got this homestand. 86 first pitch. Now, during the game, there's a slight chance of an isolated shower or thunder shower. Most areas remain dry, but there is that chance as a disturbance moves our way from the northwest. 78 for the final out. There it is. Nice shot to right. Opposite field. Enjoy the game on Fox Sports Ohio.
It is a hot and steamy one, but the Reds and Cubs are set to do battle first of three here on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day on the field. If you're a mid to small market team like Cincinnati, you'd better develop some players and you put them out on the field and hope that they improve year by year. We're seeing exactly that from Todd Frazier, and he's been supplying power as well. After a bit of a power outage after the All-Star game, Frazier was back in the groove, including Sunday when he sent 1 yard. And he has certainly become one of the leaders on this team as well. Certainly an inspirational leader. And he's also the subject of our IGS Bringing the Energy feature. And this is what I'm talking about. When he first broke in, 6 home runs, 15 runs driven in. And then he followed up with 2 19 home run seasons. You see the RBIs going up each and every year. And right now, a career best 22 home runs after Sunday and 67 runs driven in. He's on pace for 80-plus runs driven in. So if he continues to improve, look out. Going to be a dominant player in the future. Brian Price could use Frazier's bat. Cueto could use Frazier's bat. And the Reds could use another victory. Cubs and Reds next on Fox Sports Ohio.
Go further by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good. It's Skyline time. A muggy Tuesday night in downtown Cincinnati. And the Reds take the field in their home white with a red trim. First of 3 with the Chicago Cubs in town. They won 3 in a row over the weekend against the American League Eastern Division leader, the Baltimore Orioles in Chicago, so they come in playing well. Take a look at their starting lineup presented by Meyer. Coughlin in left, the rookie Javier Baez at second, and Anthony Rizzo at first. Starlin Castro, the shortstop. Luis Valbuena at third, Ryan Sweeney in right. Arismendi Alcantara is in center field. Wellington Castillo behind the plate for left-hander Travis Wood. Johnny Cueto tries to become the Major League's first 16-game winner here tonight. It's his second shot at number 16.
Well, Johnny's got to feel pretty good about his chances so far, especially given the fact that he's going to pitch against the Cubs. The Cubs have been pretty much his whipping boy the last few times out. He's 5-0 with an earned run average of 1.1 against this Cubs team in the last 7 times he's been on the mound against them.
Well, the Cubs are starting to bring up many of their highly touted young players. The best of the lot, at least as far as producing this year, is Chris Bryant down in the minor leagues. They are not going to bring him up under any circumstances, even when the rosters expand this year. But they have another young man who is due to be in the lineup and playing right field on a regular basis from now on, starting in right tomorrow. And we get our first look at Javier Baez, their young second baseman, here tonight. Chris Coghlan to lead things off. And Cueto rocks, spins, turns, delivers. Ball 1, this one underway. Bill Miller is a crew chief. He'll call the balls and strikes tonight. Chad Fairchild at first. Ben May at second. Mike Everett, the umpire, at third. 1-1 on Coghlan, who has certainly resurrected his major league career. One-time National League Rookie of the Year. Broke in spectacular fashion with the Florida Marlins. And really never heard from since until getting a crack at it this year with the Cubs. Broken bat, 1 hopper at Brandon. And that's easy, 1 out. Look at the Reds on defense. Presented by Ford. Now Cueto on the mound. Pena will be behind the plate. Frazier moves over to first with Negron getting the nod at third base. Well, here is Javier Baez hitting only .207. He has 17 hits, but 7 of those home runs. This is one of the guys we've been hearing about for quite some time. Only 21 years old, won't turn 22 until the offseason in the month of December. Last year, single A, double A. Had a monster year last year, hit 37 home runs.
I mean, here's a guy, Tom, last year was playing in the Florida State League All-Star game. And here he is a year later playing in the major leagues. And I thought the comments that he has made along the way, I mean, he's got a high strikeout total. He struck out 36 times. He's only walked 4. But he says he doesn't care about strikeouts. He's up there to hit the long ball.
Well, he homered against the Orioles on both Friday and Saturday. He's made now 16 starts at second base, 5 at shortstop since he was brought up and made his major league debut on August 5th. A light rain beginning to fall, but we're told it's not supposed to last very long, so they're going to play right through it as Baez has gone swinging, and we have a rainbow along the rolling hills over in the Commonwealth of Kentucky out in right center field.
Now Baez will chase, being a guy that is very aggressive up there, and he just gets a little, looks like a little bit of a splitter right there. Ball went straight down on him, and he'll rack up a little 1 more on that strikeout total. I mean, the kind of power that he presents for the Cubs, given the fact that he's a middle infielder, that's why they're excited about him. They've had enough of their middle infielders, especially on the second base side, be all field, no hit.
Well, here's a guy that's getting better and better seemingly every year. It's Anthony Rizzo. 6 of his 29 home runs this season have come against Reds pitching. He has 70 runs batted in and a .278 hitter.
I wonder if he's cooled down a little bit since the last time he was on this field.
Let's hope so.
That was a day game. The last of 5 games that the Cubs played in a very unusual 5-game series against the Reds, and he threw his glove down at first base and wanted to take on the entire Reds dugout. Angry at being plunked by Homer Bailey.
He handled it like a champ, though, shortly thereafter when he went to the All-Star game and, was asked about Aroldis Chapman. He said, look, no hard feelings. Chapman firing one behind one of his teammates. He's yelling from a dugout. And that one is in the air and hit a ton into right center field. Hamilton will watch it go. And in the rain, Rizzo clubs home run number 30. giving Chicago a 1-0 first inning lead.
You know, right after that pitch, Johnny Cueto really tried to wipe his hand off a little bit. You're going to watch him maybe in time, but he just grooves this pitch. I'm wondering if this maybe just kind of slipped on him a little bit. I've always wondered whether it's more difficult to pitch in the rain or hit in the rain. And if you don't have a good dry grip on the baseball, you're certainly not going to be able to throw it accurately. And he grooved it there for Rizzo.
We hear the rumbling of thunder, a little bit of lightning. But from what we're told, the reason they're just playing right through this and didn't halt the regular scheduled 7-10 first start is they knew it was coming and it wasn't going to last long. Let's hope they're right. That's off the end of the bat. And Hamilton will dive, unable to get there. It's a base hit for Starlin Castro.
Well, now it looks like they've decided to go ahead and roll the tarp out, or at least get the tarp ready to go. And here comes the team off the field. I think maybe that last strike of lightning was a little bit too close for the home plate umpire, Bill Miller.
And this is where were you guys when Matt Latos was really upset? Out in Denver when you started the game, and then all of a sudden in the first inning, bottom of the first inning, rain comes, and he's saying, you know, with all the technology you have out there, you mean to tell me we start a game and 5 minutes later it's raining? And it certainly is a legitimate question.
Yeah.
Of course, the Cubs had the big situation on their just completed homestand, Chris, against the Giants, where, you know, they waited so long that by the time the rain started coming down and it was pouring, they could not get the tarp to cover the field well enough where if they even thought about playing again, they were going to be unable to do so. The Giants protested and won that protest rather than the game ending after 4.5 innings with the Cubs in front. They came back the following day and played a full 8.5. The Cubs wound up winning the game 2-1.
That's a pretty good job of that tarp getting on the field very quickly there by Doug Gallen, the grounds crew. Yeah, I got to figure, Tom, and I mean, not to answer Matt Latos' question, because I would imagine predicting the weather in Colorado is as nearly as tough as it is right here in Cincinnati. You know, we sit down in a valley, especially in the summertime, rains can come from a number of different directions. Here we have the wind blowing in a very unusual direction here at Great American Ballpark. It usually blows out towards left center field. It's blowing straight in from left center field right now. So, I mean, if it was easy to predict the weather around here, you know, all the weathermen around here, including Tim Hendrick, would be hitting more than 300.
Well, you're tough. You are really tough.
I mean, how many times did you leave the house
really,
this winter?
Really tough.
And you expect nothing, and then you could hardly get back up your driveway when you got home.
Man, now look at that guy. Now, he didn't bring the umbrella. He didn't bring a parka, anything like that. He's got his Kentucky football. Looks like a brand new T-shirt on there. Of course, I imagine the Wildcats will be teeing him up this weekend like everybody else in college football. It's probably a little warm. And he's just hanging, thinking this feels pretty good right about now. Now, those folks, they must have been watching Tim Hendrick, because he was talking about a little rain. So they came prepared to just sit out in it. I don't know what these guys are doing, kind of hanging out there right along the front row. But they look like they're having a good time. That's a who's who of Reds jerseys along there. Tony, Pete. Shades up on the forehead. Now, you know the puppies love it. They've been warm today.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we ought to send Jim Day out there to try and find one of the contests they have here before the ball game out in the plaza area. What dog looks most like their owner? That is one of the contests they have. And they'll come dressed similarly, you know, to the ball game at night. Now, what about you and Bubbles? Both of you have pretty close to all white hair.
Well, except I think
you're not using the same stuff on Bubbles, though.
No, you're right. Do they even sell that? I think the kind I'd use on Bubbles is pink. You've got experience with that.
One time and never again.
Well,
and a bad time to do it before opening day.
Should let me do it for you.
No, that will never happen again. I will walk around looking like the driven snow on top of my hair.
Well,
of my head. Now, right there. That dog's loving it. Only thing that would make that picture a little bit better for that one right there, be a big old burger to go along with a little rain.
Well, you know, when you get about 500 dogs into the stadium, and I didn't see any potty pads out there down the right field line where they had all the activities. They had some tents where the vendors were set up and so on.
That's right.
And all the sponsors were represented. But as I saw the dogs doing their business,
sure,
I said to one lady, I said, you know what this ballpark could use after this ball game tonight is a good hard rainstorm. So
maybe your ability to call the weather's pretty good.
Just blame it on me.
The Cubs guys are already telling us to blame it on them. They said because wherever they go, it's raining. I mean, we're listening to a little B.J. Thomas here at the ballpark. Raindrops keep falling on my head. Still one of the classic tunes of all time. Yeah. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Can't you see him riding through that field in the bike? Robert Redford, Paul Newman. Mm-hmm. She was a beautiful woman. What was her name? I can't remember her name.
Nor can I.
Catherine Ross, Jim Strickler tells me up here in the booth. She's probably still a beautiful woman. If she's alive. Is she alive? I hope so. I understand Jim Day's looking to get settled in over on the Fox Sports Ohio condominium. We are 4 batters into this game, and it is a downpour. I mean pouring. And now it's starting to blow sideways, and we better get some of our stuff in here under shelter. You better keep an eye on Bubbles there, too.
Bubbles doesn't like the rain too much.
Really?
No.
So you don't take your dog out in bad elements. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you take one look at Bubbles, and you realize that Bubbles travels with a silk pillow wherever she goes.
See, I'm a designated guy around our house. If it's 9 or if it's 90. I'm out there.
And if it needs scooping, you're the main man for that, too, I'm sure.
It's part of the kids' chores now.
Well, you know, that's good.
That'll humble you in a heartbeat.
Yes, it will.
Especially after a good rain.
Ooh.
Ugh. Not good.
A little graphic for me.
Get a little back talk on those days.
I bet you do.
So we understand that Jim Day is standing by in the Fox Sports Ohio condominium. Is that right? Jim Day, are you down there in position?
I am down here in the dugout.
Oh, you're in the dugout.
Hanging with, oh yeah, this is where it's happening, Tom, down here. And everyone,
you're undercover though, right? You're not out in the rain right now, are you?
I am slightly undercover. I was under the rain for most of this portion until it started downpouring.
So, Jim, who's down there with you in the dugout?
There's Billy Hamilton. Why don't you grab him?
What did you say, Billy? You're on live TV.
No, I don't do live TV right now. I'm mad. I missed that fly ball.
Oh, Bill. Stewing over missing the fly ball, which we love that about Bill Hamilton. Thought he was going to be mad about the rain, but mad about not catching that ball.
So, Jim, is anybody down there with you? You know, by the way, you have some pretty slick, I will say, early in the year, you were down there in like a coat and tie and that kind of thing. But now you actually have rain gear in case we have inclement weather, correct?
Well, I wouldn't say gear. I would say a coat, a rain jacket. But the bottom half of the body is still enduring the rain. I have wet feet right now, if you care.
Well, why in the world would you be standing in the rain? I mean,
I'm not standing in the rain right now.
But you're down there. I can see it's blowing sideways down there. I mean, you're getting soaking wet. Why in the world would we be throwing it down to you standing in the dugout getting rained on?
I don't know. I'd you ask yourself that question. But I am standing here. Oh, Matt. Matt Latos here too. I know. Matt Latos is a new father, by the way. We're going to be talking about
really?
that. Yes, he is.
Congratulations to you.
Congratulations on. He's doing a Billy Hamilton impression right now, so Matt's busy.
I mean, is he the guy standing down there next to you? I can barely see you on the edge of the dugout.
Oh, yes, he is. He's moving into the dugout portion. Why don't I move with him?
Yeah, why don't you talk some about fatherhood?
Yeah. Well,
for him. I know that they were very excited.
Yeah,
Matt and his wife Dallas about the birth of their first child.
And we'll be talking about that coming up. A picture, Tom. I've got a picture ready to go.
Very, very nice.
Yes.
Okay.
If we can get this rain to stop. I'm here standing by because I love you.
Well, it sounds like Jim's mic is starting to go out down there. It's a 1-0 ball game in favor of the Cubs. And we understand with all the rain, and it's understandable that we're having some issues with Jim Day's microphone down there. So once we get that straightened out, the very talented Dickie Moss is down there trying to get that straightened out. Jeff Pecoro and Brian Giesenslaw are going to join us after a commercial timeout. We are in the first inning, and it is pouring in Cincinnati. Back in a moment. are ready to go. Runner at first is Starlin Castro. 2 outs here in the Cubs' first inning. And the batter is a third baseman, Luis Valbuena. 241 batter, 12 home runs, 42 runs batted in. We'll keep you up to date on what's going on with Atlanta. They're trailing 1-0 in the 4th inning in New York against the Mets. Cardinals and the Pirates, game 2 of that series. Scoreless that game in the 4th inning in Pittsburgh. 0-1 to Valbuena. Reds beginning play 5.5 out in the wild card. They're not done yet, despite the fact that they are a whopping 5 games under 500. That one's in the air. Short left field. Ryan Ludwig to his right, and that's all in the Cubs' opening inning. But a home run by Rizzo puts Chicago in front of Cueto and the Reds 1-0. Brian Price's starting lineup presented by Meyer. They'll go with Billy Hamilton, Todd Frazier, Brandon Phillips. Jay Bruce in a cleanup spot. Ryan Ludwig is out in left field. Christopher Negron starts at third. A ladder third of Brian Pena, Zach Cozart, and Johnny Cueto, and stake to an early 1-0 lead. The former Red left-hander Travis Wood makes a start for Chicago.
Oh, not only the former Red, but also the former draft pick by the Cincinnati Reds back in 2005. It was Travis Wood that was taken the 2nd round, 1 round right after the Reds picked up Jay Bruce in the 1st round. And we've talked about it many times, but that 2005 draft, a very productive draft for the Reds. They also picked up Sam LeCure, Adam Rosales, Logan Ondrusek in that draft, and a guy that did not sign and ended up going back to school, John Axford. But 7-11 on the year, earned run average up around 4.9. He is 13 games under 500 career-wise. A fly ball pitcher, Travis Wood.
Billy Hamilton will lead things off, and he looks at a strike. It's fascinating sometimes how the numbers just align. Last year for the season, Wood walked 66 batters. He allowed 163 hits. That was in 200 innings. He's allowed the exact same number of walks, the exact same number of hits in 50 fewer innings, starting the game here tonight in 2014. Now, one in the air in foul territory. There appears to be room for Rizzo, and there is one away. We look at Chicago on defense. This team is playing very good baseball right now. Presented by Ford. Alcantara is in center field, flanked by Coughlin and Sweeney. Now Blaine and Rizzo on the corner. Starlin Castro, Javier Baez up the middle. And a battery of Wellington Castillo with Travis Wood. First talked about the breakout year for Travis Wood last year. He was 4th in the National League in number of quality starts. He had 24 of them. But this year, only 4 pitchers who have started 25 or more games have fewer quality starts than Travis Wood's 11 here in 2014. Goes to show, Chris, you just can't count on it every year.
No, you can. For those people that say a quality start is an easy thing to do, you can ask Travis Wood that question. It was easy last year, but not so this year. And really what Travis gives you is what you would expect out of a 4th or a 5th starter. He has a lot of games in which he pitches 6 innings and gives up 4 runs. 5 innings and 3 runs. Gives up 1 extra run maybe to get him out of that quality start stratum, but he's still a guy that's very, he answers the bell. Working on start number 27 on the year.
That one punched into right field. Nice piece of hitting there by Todd Frazier, and he has a 1-out single here in the Reds' first inning.
Get ahead of Mo too, just the way he did Billy Hamilton, and that time he tried to go down and away. I don't know if he tried to go back over the slider or what, but Frazier just goes down there, kind of throws the head of the bat at it and gets a base hit. Looks like just a little 4-seam fastball.
So now Brandon Phillips. All 8 pitches so far tonight from Travis Wood in the strike zone. Brandon at .269, 7 home runs and 41 runs batted in. Oh, and 2. Talk about the Cubs playing good baseball. You better believe it. Won 3 in a row against the American League Eastern Division Baltimore Orioles over the weekend. 3-game sweep in that series. They are a 500 club in their last 90 games, and that is going back to May the 17th. And you might be saying, well, 500 playing good ball, that's win 1, lose 1. Well, you're right. But consider where the Cubs have been the last number of years. They started this season 13-27. And 45 up, 45 down since then. They've won 6 of 8, 16 of 27.
Well, included in that 6 of 8 is the 3-game sweep this last weekend over the Baltimore Orioles.
Straight up in the air, shallow center field. A long way for Alcantara, but a long time to get there, and there's 2 away in the inning. Yeah, Baltimore had to be stunned. Orioles have been playing great baseball. They had opened a nearly a double-digit lead over the 2nd-place Yankees in the American League East. But they lost 3 in a row while the Yankees were winning 3 in a row, and it got the Yankees now within 6 games. 2 away in the inning for Jay Bruce, a .221 batting, 14 home runs and 55 runs batted in. If you're wondering why we're only in the bottom of the 1st inning, we had a rain delay. And that is the first pitch out of the strike zone from Travis Wood tonight of his 12 thrown to the plate. Talked about Wood being drafted in 2005. He made his major league debut with the Reds in 2010, and there was a lot to be excited about. Chris, you and I were sitting right here in the booth when he had an ERA at 3.51. He won 5 games out of 9 decisions.
Nearly pitched a no-hitter in Philadelphia. And so that was his, as it turned out, though, that was his only winning record of his major league career. Every other year has been below 500 except that 5-4 mark. Overall, he's 33-46, but earned an average right around 4.
Now, granted, the minor leagues is different from the big leagues, but being a winner is what Wood was known as when he was coming up through the Reds minor league system. Yeah, 13-5 year, 10-5 year. Stung, but right into the mitt of Javier Baez, and that will end the first inning. Cubs in front, 1-0. Top half of the second inning, and it's a 1-0 Chicago lead on an Anthony Rizzo home run just before the rains came here in Cincinnati. So here we are in the top half of the second inning. Ryan Sweeney to be followed by Alcantara, and then Wellington Castillo. Sweeney, a .252 batter, has 3 home runs and 20 runs batted in. We understand starting tomorrow night, Jorge Soler will be in the lineup and will be playing right field every day. He's in his 3rd full year of baseball after signing a 9-year major league deal with the Cubs at the end of June 2012. Back up through the middle. Nice play by Cozart. Got him at first base. Cozart's been making these plays all season long.
Well, that ball nearly went right over the second base bag, and it wasn't like Cozart was playing right there. He had to go a long way to it, throw off balance. And the process, it looked like Ryan Sweeney may have pulled a leg muscle going down the line right there, striding his very last stride to get to first base. Like the old hammy grabbed on him.
Yep, that left hamstring just as he crossed the bag right there.
Well, he has played some kind of defense this year.
Alcantara playing in his 42nd game, a .228 batter, 4 home runs and 14 runs batted in. We understand, I guess, the way he is pronouncing his name is Alcantara. So it's Alcantara. Seen a couple other big leaguers that pronounces a little bit differently, although spelled the same way. But Alcantara it is. And here's a pitch. And a fastball in the outside corner.
I think even better if you can trill the R just slightly.
I would try that, but I'd mess that up too.
Maybe between innings we'll work on it.
Yeah. You got to have that rolling arm. And he's rolling back to the dugout. 2 up, 2 down, 2 strikeouts now for Johnny Cueto.
Boy, that is some kind of a pitch right here. I mean, if you could bottle up a changeup that you'd love to throw to left-handers, it's it right there. Looks like it's going to the center of the plate, and it goes from being a pitch right down Broadway to being a ball off the plate.
Two up, 2 down here in the Chicago second inning, and now it's Wellington Castillo. Up catcher at 237, 10 home runs, 34 runs batted in. And there's a strike.
Well, you mentioned Solar, the young player is going to come up and play right field the rest of the year. Tom, this is a young ball club right now. In fact, there's nobody on this Cubs starting lineup that is over the age of 29.
A lot of English on that one hopper. Handled perfectly by Phillips, and a perfect inning for Cueto. Reds trail 1-0. Serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Well, you go back to the 2010 season, it is staggering the domination the Reds have had over the Chicago Cubs team. Their .707 winning percentage, the best against any team since 2010. Tonight is the 2,242nd game played between these two teams, going all the way back to 1890. The Reds have won one more game than the Cubs have won. Prior to July the 8th of this year, the Reds had not been over 500 all time against the Cubs since 1901. And now they're one game over 500. Caesar takes over in right field for the injured Sweeney. And here we go in the Reds' second inning. They're down 1-0. Ryan Ludwig looks at ball one. Will be followed by Christopher Negron and then Brian Pena. Anthony Rizzo with a home run in the first inning. And that's the only run of the game so far. Rizzo became the youngest Cub as a left-handed batter to club 30 home runs in a year. Ron Santo the same age at 24, but he was a right-handed hitter. And of course, they had one of the greatest left-handed hitters in the history of Major League Baseball that came up through the Cubs organization, Hall of Famer, sweet swinging Billy Williams. That guy could rake. But Freddie McGriff also hit 30 home runs, but of course he had piled up a lot of major league seasons by the time he arrived in Chicago. One-two on Ludwig. Bounces up there to even a count.
Now these 2 through 5 hitters in the Cubs lineup have seen Travis Wood quite a bit. Ludwig never played with him here when he was with the member of the Reds, but he's seen him enough, especially being with the Cardinals for so many years.
Fly ball short and left center field. It's run down by Coghlan, 1 away. Well, for Red, it's a home run off that Tundra sign out by the power stacks in right center field. Brian Burnett of Lebanon, Ohio will win that beautiful new Tundra, and you can register for your chance to win it. Just stop by your Cincinnati and or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. They grown to 284. Tonight, Christopher plays in his 30th game of this season. He's done a very nice job. 4 home runs, 12 runs batted in. And that one in the air to short right center field. 2 away.
Now, we mentioned in the open that Travis Wood, one of the downfalls for Wood this year compared to what he did last year, which he had a very good season, was he's not throwing the ball over the plate nearly as much. But tonight he is doing nothing but pounding the strike zone with strikes. He has thrown 23 pitches and only 5 of those have not been a strike.
And 1 on Brian Pena. Nothing at 2. Pena, 262 batter, has 5 home runs and 25 runs batted in. Reds 2-2 so far on this 7-game homestand. They've lost the first 2, of course, against Atlanta before coming back to win Saturday and Sunday. Looks like Jim Day is starting to dry out a little bit, hanging around the Reds dugout down there on the first base side. Well, he got poured on there for quite a while. We got to get him the rest of that rain gear. Get him some duck boots. He likes to wear those things. Always looks very good in them. Maybe a pair of rain pants to go with that good-looking jacket. There's strike 3 called, and that'll end the inning. We play 2, and the Cubs lead 1-0.
Johnny Cueto has certainly been that for Cincinnati this year. These are Reds single-season pitching ranks dating back to 1914. You can see that he is first and second in a couple of major categories. A 2.20 ERA is 8th best, and not known as a strikeout pitcher per se, but 5th best at 8.92 strikeouts per 9 innings pitch. He is certainly a game changer. And guys, I got to tell you what, there are none too many happy Reds players down here in the dugout right now, and one of them is Johnny Cueto. They are not happy that they started this game. I know weather is hard to predict, but I have never seen Johnny Cueto so angry as he was after they called him off the field.
Popped up into foul ground by the pitcher Wood, who has really swung the bat well this year, so that's no easy out, and he's retired to begin the inning. Back to the top of the order in Coughlin, and he looks at a strike. Coughlin led off the game with a ground ball to Brandon Phillips, who threw him out. Right back to Johnny. Able to keep his feet underneath him. 2 away in the inning. Well, right now at FoxSportsOhio.com, see where the Reds place in this week's MLB Consensus Power Ranking. Sam Amico lists 10 of the biggest trades in NBA history. Kevin Love now a Cavalier. And find out what Braxton Miller shared on his social media following surgery. Underwent surgery by Dr. James Andrews in Pensacola, Florida. It's all brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe, spend less. Of course, the Buckeyes will be opening their season without Braxton Miller, be playing this entire year without Miller. They will play Navy in the season opener in Baltimore. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike. College football season kicking off this coming weekend. Baez struck out his first time up tonight. Now, you've had kids go to Kentucky. You have a son at Louisville. So where is your allegiance now when they play in football?
When they
With
play
the Cardinals?
each other?
I know you're jumping on the bandwagon, and Louisville's got a good thing going, so you're jumping on that bandwagon.
Yeah, then you know me pretty well. I'm right on it. I got to go with the current student.
Good.
I mean, neither of my daughters are down there anymore.
Yeah, but they're alums. There's strike 3 called, and that'll end the inning.
Well, they're still on the UK bandwagon. But not Dad.
Not Dad, no.
the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, nothing Cubs over the Reds as we go to the bottom of the third inning, and it did not take long for Johnny Cueto to provide for us our flamethrower of the night, brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. A 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Javier Baez looks at that. He is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts, and Cueto has 3 on the night.
So Zach Cozart to lead things off for the Reds in search of their first run of the night. They trail 1-0. Two and 0 to Zach, a .225 batter, has 3 home runs and 33 runs batted in. Two balls and a strike. Cozart to be followed by Cueto, and then the top of the order in Billy Hamilton. Early on here tonight, Wood has been a strike machine. 25 strikes, 8 balls. In the air, foul territory, and Rizzo will run out of room. It remains at 2-2 on Zach Cozart. And it was a left hamstring injury, as we suspected it was, just watching the way Ryan Sweeney went through the bag after that ground ball up through the middle that Cozart made a dazzling play on to throw him out in the second inning. So that's what they're reporting from the Cubs clubhouse. And we mentioned too bad for Sweeney. I think he knows that his playing time will be limited. And there you saw the hamstring about 2-3 steps from the bag. As they're going to bring Soler to the major leagues tomorrow, with the game plan being he will play regularly through the remainder of the year. Pretty good at bat here by Cozart, hanging in there. Long look in by Wood, now finally okays his sign. And a strike 3 call. Second strikeout. They've come consecutively for Travis Wood.
Well, if Travis Wood continues to have control over his slider and his cutter the way he has shown already tonight, that's a little backdoor job. 9 pitches in the at-bat. That one just barely gets the outside corner. But if he continues to control his pitches the way he has so far, the Reds have a pretty good challenge ahead of them.
Johnny Cueto, the batter. And there's a strike. Johnny 8 hits and 57 at bats, has a couple of runs batted in. He's behind 0-2. Be the 39th pitch of the game for Travis Wood, and he is yet to hit double figures in pitches out of the strike zone. He's 1 away from that now. Broken bat pop up to the second baseman Baez. 2 are out. We can draft players from every Reds game or any other game in baseball this year with MLB.com's head-to-head challenge app. You and your opponent each select 4 players, and Mr. Welsh and I have already done tonight. And they'll do all the work. Most points at the end of each game wins. Head-to-head challenge, free to play, so download today. And Mr. Welsh staring down the barrel at a 5-13 record in head-to-head matchups. And you are leaning on Jorge De La Rosa on the mound tonight, and I am going with his mound opponent, Madison Bumgarner.
You might say I'm picking the underdog there.
You might.
Bumgarner is pitching for the Giants at home against the Rockies. But in the in-game players, I picked a couple of the Giants to hit against La Rosa. Maybe I've outthought myself there. I'm betting against myself. Not really betting, but I'm hoping that my guys do some damage and he ekes out a victory. You never know. Don't be put too at ease by my record so far.
That was solid strategy, though. Picking
I'm
a
about
pitcher
to
go against the guys that you picked as position players. That is good, solid strategy.
I'm thinking about a 1-0 game.
Who are you? You picked Kung Fu Panda. I saw where you picked Pablo Sandoval. Yeah. Who else did you pick tonight? You picked Arenado.
Then I went outside. I went outside that game and picked Brian Braun.
That's right. I took a pair of Dodgers tonight, D. Gordon and Yasiel Puig. And I threw in another former Dodger, Adrian Beltre. Checks in with a very cool .325 batting average. But by the time you and I got around to picking, there were only 4 games still to choose players from where the games had not started. So that's why we have all of our players out west tonight.
Well, since those games aren't starting until 10:15 local time, do me a favor. Just go ahead and don't call me when those games are over and let me know the score. Because you're probably going to get my voicemail.
Well, just don't turn off the ring. Make sure it rings 4 or 5 times. There's a fly ball into left field. And going to get it short of the warning track, Cogley. 1 hit allowed through the front 3 by Wood. Reds trail 1-0.
Get MLB.TV for only $12 for the remainder of the season. Visit MLB.TV today. I'm Jim Day, and speaking of television, anyone who works in baseball television, this is a big day because 75 years ago today, the very first baseball game was televised. It involved the Cincinnati Reds. Game 1 of a doubleheader at famed Ebbets Field. Cincinnati won that first game of the doubleheader. The Dodgers took game 2. The famous Red Barber was on the call alongside Chris Welsh. And it's interesting, back then they had just 2 cameras, one aimed down the first base line to pick up the infield throws to first, and one above home plate. It's reported that there were maybe 400 or so sets that watched the game, and Cincinnati Enquirer writer Lou Smith reported at the time that television, quote, gives one a splendid picture of the plate and the infield, but it's not big enough to make any of the outfield plays. There is still plenty of room for improvement. And oh, has it improved over the years, guys.
Indeed it has. Of course, Jim Strickler was also at that game as a high home camera operator. And he's still working here tonight.
Now, what did he do to you? To
Strick's my man. I mean, I go way back with Strick. Strick and Jesse and I and Roy Alfers downstairs, our director, and a lot of guys on our crew. We were all together there at Channel 5. Bowling for straight time. We used to do the Hudipole King of TV bowling on Sunday morning in the dead of winter at about 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. Swing and a miss, and Rizzo is gone on strikes. One away in the inning. Bowling for straight time.
Johnny again with that changeup. We've seen him throw that changeup in almost an identical spot, not only against lefties but righties. That down and in spot's good for him there. Boy, he's got so many different pitches that he controls so well. And that's really what the difference has been for Johnny Cueto the last few years.
Started Castro down a strike. Weak ground ball right at Brandon Phillips. And well, you can only wonder, and you brought it up at the time, Chris, when the rain was starting to fall, whether Cueto didn't have a good grip on that pitch and the location wound up not where he wanted it when Rizzo hit the home run just as it was starting to pour down rain. The very next batter, Castro, hit a ball off the end of the bat, a little flare that fell in front of a diving Billy Hamilton. They have not had a base runner since we've resumed play. And I mean, not even a hard hit ball.
Well, I can tell you that right after he threw that pitch and saw it disappear into the moon deck, I mean, he went down and was wiping his hand off as if, you know, his hand was full of water. I mean, it was raining pretty hard at that point. In fact, I lost the ball in the sky because there was so much rain coming down. If you ever wanted to have a do-over, that would be the one.
As Jim Day reported, Johnny was very angry down in the dugout after he came off the field. So I'm wiping his hand there on his leg. Threw that fastball right by Luis Valbuena. 2 balls and a strike. Cueto waiting on Valbuena to get back in that box. Came back and pumped in another fastball at 93. Two and two to Valbuena. Cueto trying for his 3rd straight perfect inning, and he's got it. Pulled the string on him there to retire the side. 5 strikeouts for Johnny. Frazier, Phillips, Bruce coming up, down 1-0. of Let's Create Great Dishes Together by Toyota. For over 30 Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com. By T-Mobile Tuesday Night Baseball. And by B-Dubs. Go for the Save on Wing Tuesdays at B-Dubs. Especially priced wings all day, all night. Buffalo Wild Wings, Wings, Beer, Sports. Welcome back along the banks of the Ohio on Bow Tie Tuesday. Look at those guys, Chris. You must have lent them those bow ties for the ball game tonight.
They're looking good.
They are looking good. 3 in a row there. Are there more than that or just those 3? Let's take a look. A couple behind them passed. Todd Frazier has the only Reds hit. He's the only Reds base runner through the front 3 against Travis Wood. Frazier had a single in the right field in the opening inning.
Now, the next 4 hitters that Travis Wood will face here on this Reds lineup, each of these guys have hit at least a home run off of Travis Wood in their matchups previously against him. Frazier has hit 2. He's with 6 runs batted in. Jay Bruce has hit 3 off of him. Brandon Phillips has hit 1, and so has Ryan Ludwig.
That one got a pretty good piece of Wellington Castillo behind the plate. And the home plate umpire going to give him a minute or 2 to regroup. Two and 2 on Frazier. Broken bat. Shallow center field. 1 out. Boy, Wood is dealing so far here tonight. Well, we invite you to tweet your photo using hashtag #OhioFanPhoto, our AT&T call to action, and perhaps we'll show it during an upcoming game. It's brought to you by AT&T. Now Brandon, he popped out to shallow center his first time up. Beat him with a fastball away, and it's 0-2 on Brandon Phillips.
Really amazing, though, how quickly Brandon has come back from that thumb injury and how much more comfortable he's looking at the plate than he first did. You know, you missed 5 or 6 weeks, and your timing is going to be way off, even when you go down and do a short rehab stint. But he's settling right in there.
Over near the line, it's Caesar, and there are 2 away in the inning. Well, you mentioned a fly ball pitcher. 9 of his outs recorded in this game have come with balls lifted in the air. He has 2 strikeouts and has allowed 1 single. Not a single ground ball out in the game so far tonight for Travis Wood. 2-0 on Jay Bruce. 2 down and nobody on. And a fastball is off the outside corner, running the count to 3-0.
Bruce had him where he wanted him last time, had him on a 3-1 count. Before he eventually flied to the center fielder.
Bruce has it 3-1 right here, and it's coming from Travis Wood. Came with an 89-mile-per-hour fastball, and it swung on and dropped foul off to the third base side out of play.
You know, whatever team Travis Wood finds himself pitching for, he's going to be among the best athletes on that particular team. I think when he was playing here with the Reds, there was only one player on the team maybe faster than him. I'm trying to think if it was, could have been Willie Taveras. Was he around those same days? But I mean, the only one outfielder normally could outrun Travis Wood.
It was either Willie Taveras or Corey Patterson.
Okay.
And there's ball 4 to Bruce, and that is the first walk issued by Travis Wood tonight. And here we are with 2 away in the bottom of the 4th inning. That ends a string of 10 in a row retired by the Cub left-hander, and now he'll work out of the stretch for the first time since the first inning. And he faces Ryan Ludwig. Cubs got a home run from Anthony Rizzo back in the first inning, and that's the only run for either team so far tonight. We had a rain delay stopping play in the top of the first inning. Ludwig has 8 home runs and 41 runs batted in. Got a good pitch to hit right there and found it straight back. Pirates in the bottom of the 6th inning shutting out the Cardinals. That's Garrett Cole on the mound tonight for Pittsburgh. Of course, he really stepped up and pitched so brilliantly against St. Louis last year, including the playoffs. They had other guys that let him down in that division series. Garrett Cole was not one of them.
Well, you can almost guess along with Travis Wood the way he's pitching the Reds. First pitch, up and away fastball to Ryan Ludwig, fouls it straight back. So he's looking out over the plate. Next pitch, down and in slider. He'll probably go back outside again or come way in off the plate, try to get him to bite at that slider again. But he's moving the ball around. Boy, this is the kind of fun game for a catcher to catch.
He just pumped that one right down the can.
Well, you're just trying to move the eyes up and down, in and out. I mean, a major league hitter wants nothing more than see 2 pitches in the same spot, because if he misses the first one, chances are he's centering up the next one.
Oh, and to the count on Ryan Ludwig. Bruce has 12 stolen bases, has been thrown out 7 times, but we've seen through the years Wood with a very good move over there to first. When Chris just talked about what a good athlete he is.
Yeah, he's given up a lot of stolen bases though this year. Kind of odd for Wood. He doesn't normally do that. He's given up 10. If you call that a lot, they've only thrown out 2. I don't know if you risk it right here or not. I would say no, because you're not throwing a lot of pitches in the dirt. Wood, when he misses, though he did miss with that changeup down, I would imagine he's not coming back with that same pitch. He'll probably come up with something high and away.
Bruce takes off, and it's thrown nowhere near the bag, but it's strike 3 called on Ludwig. It doesn't matter anyway. And Ludwig having words with Bill Miller, the home plate umpire. As the inning comes to an end, Reds get a walk, they leave a man. We're off to the 5th. Chicago in front, 1-0.
5, the pregame edition. First look at the lineups, features, so much more. It's brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And we'd like to welcome a new addition to the Reds family. You are looking at Dallas Latos and the newly born Landon Marshall Latos. Dallas, of course, the wife of Reds pitcher Matt Latos, born yesterday morning, 8:05 a.m., 8 pounds, 11 ounces. And I talked to Matt earlier today about it. He admitted, I was nervous through the birth. I was there to support my wife and really didn't feel great doing it. But the second they put Landon in his arms, it all went away. Matt's underneath charting pitches as the starting pitcher tomorrow night. And I imagine watching Matt and everyone from Fox Sports Ohio and Reds Country, congratulations to you and Dallas.
No greater miracle in the world. And he was right there to be a part of it. A day in his life he will never forget. Congratulations indeed to the Latos family.
Really great news.
2-1 to Matt Caesar. Very odd spelling of this young man's name. S-Z-C-Z-U-R. In the old days, Harry Carey would have done that backwards. Well, it was always priceless sitting in the booth on the days where we would have radio-only games in the 6 years that I was fortunate enough to be announcing the Cubs games. 4 of us would be sitting in there together, our radio team of Harry Carey, the late Ron Santo, Bob Brenly, and myself. And the innings Harry was doing play-by-play, you could see it coming. His mind just spinning when he was going to break into those. He would only do them every now and again. That wasn't a regular thing. People like to imitate that as Caesar draws a walk to begin the inning. That's the first of the game by Cueto. But it would only be every now and again where he would go to the well. Well, but they were always good ones.
They were. He once described my pitching motion as a guy that pitches like he's got an ironing board strapped to his back.
Did he really? He was something else, man. Golly dang, was he something. Bouncer. They'll get the out at second, and that's all they'll get. 1 on, 1 out.
Frazier had to get rid of that ball pretty quickly because Matt Caesar can run. He was a running back in college at Villanova. In fact, he had a decision to make whether he was going to play in the NFL or not. He can catch, but he can really run. And Frazier, third baseman, fires it over there with something on it.
So that'll bring Wellington Castillo to the plate. Cubs with a 1-0 lead. The two teams have combined for a total of 3 hits in this game. Both Cub hits came back-to-back with 2 away in the rain in the first inning before play was halted. And when we resumed, the Reds collected their only hit, a 1-out single by Todd Frazier in the bottom of the first inning. We're talking about Harry Carey, and some of the things that used to go on were they were so outrageously funny. And you just never knew when the next sort of storm was going to hit. And I mean storm as far as laughter or something completely out of left field. There is a company that puts prizes inside of a box every time you go to buy this particular product. And that company happened to sponsor the NBC Today Show from Wrigley Field for an entire week. I mean, their signs were everywhere. And the entire gang back in those days from a Today Show was in town and doing their show right on the field at Wrigley Field in Chicago. As there is strike 3 called to Castillo, 2 away in the inning, and 6 strikeouts for Johnny. And all of a sudden, the first day of this whole routine, and it was going to go on for a week, Harry Carey comes on the air, and I mean, he unloads on this sponsor from the very get-go, saying that when he was a little boy and Harry Carey grew up an orphan, in St. Louis, Missouri. And one time there was no prize in that box. And he had never forgiven that company. And he let her rip for the next 7 days. It was incredible. And kept his job.
Only Harry.
Only Harry. Line drive at Cozart by Wood, and that'll end the inning. One left. Middle of the fifth. 1-0 Chicago in front. This season, the Kroger meal deal, we call it. And you can check concession stands around the ballpark. You're not going to beat it. $9, right? $9. You get a hot dog, it's a big one. A bag of chips, a 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, you can field your wild side with Jack Link's beef jerky. Make sure you check out concession stands for the Kroger meal deal your next time to Great American Ballpark. And a reminder, coming up a little bit later on, we'll have our Miller Time moment, brought to you by Miller Lite. A lot of our four-legged friends in the ballpark tonight. It's become unbelievably popular. Bark in the Park. And, of course, a great presence by one of the great organizations in our great city. The SPCA Cincinnati. Harold Dates has been running that operation for better than 25 years. What an incredible job they do for all of us in our area. Take a look at that. Wristbands on that one, Chris.
I like it.
That's a beautiful dog. Look at those eyes.
That is one large dog.
Yes, it is. It's got to go about probably 110, maybe a little more than that. One of our two goes at about 75.
Really?
And that one's a lot bigger than she is. Yeah, that's the one when people are milling around, maybe outside. They get one look of her and they're thinking, man, don't know. 1-1 the count on Christopher Negron.
You mean you don't have a sign on your gate that says, never mind the dog, beware the owner?
No, but I'd like to get one of those. But I tell you what, if you ever say that about my wife again, we're going to have some problems.
Well, I think your bark's probably bigger than your bite. Because you do like to bark a little bit.
Not a lot.
Only when provoked.
Precisely. And that seems to be you pretty regular.
And you learn from the best. And I don't think that Chris Negron.
He can't believe that call.
Either he can't believe the call or he thought he had the counter wrong.
Well, Ryan Ludwig was not happy about the strike 3 call ending the 4th inning, you may remember. And now the very next batter for the Reds in their half of the 5th is rung up on strikes. You be the judge. Now, did he go around? Or are they saying it was foul tipped? Never saw an indication by the umpire. Oh, there you see it. Foul tip. All right, foul tip. Did it hit the dirt? Did he ever touch the ball? Well, it didn't hit the dirt, but it certainly didn't look like it touched his bat.
No, it didn't touch his bat, but that's what Bill Miller calls. Not a reviewable play.
Jim Day.
Well, umpire Bill Miller told Christopher Negron that he heard a foul tip. He was going off of hearing it.
Well, that frequently does happen, using sound rather than sight. And we've heard from a number of base umpires, especially first base umpires, that sound of the ball hitting the mitt, the sound of the foot hitting the bag.
And they have to do that because you can't possibly see a ball at game speed coming in there at 90 miles an hour. If it just ticks the very side of a bat, it's going to make a noise. But you're not always going to be able to see it, especially if it doesn't change direction and the catcher catches it seemingly without making any kind of an adjustment.
2-0 the count on Brian Pena. Reds down 1-0 batting here in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Reds have 1 hit, and that came in the 1st inning off the bat of Todd Frazier. Well, Fox Sports Ohio and the Reds would love to wish a belated happy birthday to Betty Milligan of Hebron, Ohio. Yesterday turned 85 years young. Betty Milligan, a belated happy birthday. We hope you had a great one. Off the end of the bat, short right field. Caesar will handle it. 2 are out. Only 2 base runners in this game for the Reds against Travis Wood. The single we mentioned by Frazier in the 1st inning, and a 2-out walk an inning ago to Jay Bruce. That's been it. On Cozart, who had a lengthy at bat before being called out on strikes back in the 3rd inning. Two and one. Two and two now to Zach Cozart. Cozart has swung the bat well against his Cub team this season. Hitting up over 280 as a home run, has 5 of his 33 runs batted in. Three and two. Jumped all over that 3-1 pitch, hooking it foul. And he squares this one up and drops a single into left field with 2 away here in the 5th. Cozart has now had 2 pretty good trips to the plate against Travis Wood tonight.
And that's really considering that of all the players that have faced Travis Wood in this Reds lineup so far tonight, Cozart by far has had the worst go of it. He came into this ball game only 2 for 21. That's an 0.95 batting average, but he levels that one pretty good in the left field. That's the good news. The bad news is you're down the number 9 spot, have Johnny Cueto up.
Cueto 8 hits and 58 at bats this year. He popped up to the second baseman Baez his first time up tonight. Ball 1.
Well, the first time through the order, Travis Wood was throwing everybody a first pitch strike. This time through, it seems like he's down 2-0 every time you turn around.
They cut that one loose, and so too did Cueto, who comes up empty. 1 ball and 1 strike. Reds in 63 wins, 68 losses. They have 2 more games on this homestand against the Cubs before they hit the road after the afternoon game Thursday. And they will go to Pittsburgh over the weekend. Game on Friday night, late Saturday afternoon, and then early Sunday afternoon. They'll spend an off day in Baltimore and play a 3-game series against the American League Eastern Division leaders beginning on Tuesday night. Cueto gone swinging, 5th of the game for Wood. End of 5. Cubs lead 1-0. Game summary in the rain in the very first inning. Anthony Rizzo clubbed his 30th home run of the year. Cueto very, very upset with himself. A rain delay 2 batters later ensued. I mean, it was really raining. But since coming back, both pitchers have been lights out. Travis Wood has only allowed a total of 2 base hits. Johnny Cueto has not allowed a single hit. Only 1 base runner since a single after the home run in the first inning. Cueto trying to become the Major League's first 16-game winner tonight on the short end of a 1-0 game. You can always have the very latest information on the Reds right at your fingertips. Follow Reds reporter Kevin Goheen from FoxSportsOhio.com on Twitter at FSOhio. K. Goheen for the latest news and stories on the Red Legs. Saw Kevin before the ball game tonight. He's always hanging out down there with Hall of Famer Hal McCoy, C. Trent Rosecrans, John Fay, Mark Sheldon. Regular group of Reds followers over the course of the entire year. Is top of the order for the Cubbies here in inning number 6, leading 1-0. Strike one to Chris Coghlan. He is bounced to second and hit a hard one-hopper back at Cueto, who threw him out in the third. That one hooked into right field. That'll be a single by Coghlan. So he's aboard to open the Chicago 6th inning. First hit for Coghlan in 3 at-bats.
Coghlan is the kind of guy that kind of wears you down a little bit at that leadoff spot. As you mentioned, Tom, he's been around a while. 29-year-old, former Rookie of the Year when he was down playing with the Marlins. I guess at 29 on this ball club, you're considered one of the aged veterans.
Now Baez, he takes up and away, ball 1. Of course, the Cubs released Darwin Barney this year. He had been their regular second baseman over the last 3 years. Barney had a decent offensive season back in 2011 when he hit 276. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that for a middle infielder.
Not at all.
Playing every day, drove in 43 runs, batting down near the bottom of the order. 2012, really not all that bad then. 254 batter. He had 7 home runs, had 26 doubles, knocked in 44. But the wheels came off last year when Barney hit 208. And he was even less than that this year before they turned him loose. So now they go with the 21-year-old highly touted Baez, their minor league player of the year a season ago. Boy, the numbers were just incredible. In 130 games, this guy knocked in 111 runs, 37 bombs, 34 doubles. 2 years in a row has been named the Cubs' top prospect by Baseball America.
Well, what that tells me that if you do that in the lower and middle minor leagues, you are a very good fastball hitter, because you're going to see a whole bunch of those. He struck out twice tonight. He struck out on what I thought was either a slider or a cutter, down and away, swing and a miss, and then he looked at a fastball for strike 3. But you don't see too many Johnny Cuetos in their array of different pitches down in Double-A and Single-A. Not even out of the good ones down there.
And Baez, a young man who was drafted as it's 2-2. He was born in Puerto Rico, but grew up playing baseball in Jacksonville, Florida. Went to Arlington Country Day School down there. Boy, he swings hard, doesn't he? Every swing is a home run cut. Baez has been a shortstop throughout his entire minor league career, and there was some debate as to whether or not the Cubs might consider asking Starlin Castro to change positions. Heck, there was some talk that the Reds or the Cubs might look to deal Starlin Castro. Baez has struck out for the third straight time tonight. Now, the first time up tonight when the rain began to fall, and it was starting to fall pretty hard, Anthony Rizzo clubbed a home run to deep right center field, number 30 of the year.
Yeah, most people in the ballpark did not see that because they were heading out towards the exits. Here's the strikeout the next time up. Instead of getting a fastball, he ends up getting a changeup right there. And that's our look at Anthony Rizzo, first two ABs.
One to Rizzo, and a fastball paints the inside corner of beauty there. Well, you can tell Cueto's excited. He's fired up about this at bat. Was very upset about the home run he allowed. Jim Day reported on that. Well, look at that pitch.
Well, that's a good spot. I mean, Rizzo couldn't get the bat on that. That ball, his arms are nearly over the strike zone right there.
Tell you one thing about Rizzo. He is right on top of that plate. He might stand closer to home plate than any hitter in the National League.
Well, you know, now that Barry Bonds is gone, you're absolutely right. I mean, Bonds had a theory about that. He thought that there were three lanes a pitcher goes to: in, middle, and away. By standing on top of the plate, you take that inside lane away completely because not many pitchers can get in there. So anything down the middle to him was really, or down the middle of the plate was inside to him. Anything on the outer part of the plate was down the middle. Anything that looked away, he didn't swing at it. I'm not sure why more guys don't do that.
Look at that left foot. In the air, foul territory, and into foul ground, it's Frazier. So Cueto takes care of Rizzo for out number 2.
Now, we showed you the first two ABs with Anthony Rizzo. Now let's show you this at bat, pitch by pitch, brought to you by Mazda. That inside fastball right there sets up everything, especially when you do it back to back. You go away, foul ball the other way, and finally comes right back inside on the trademark and gets a weak pop up to the third baseman.
And that was Negron, I beg your pardon, not Frazier going into foul ground. Frazier over at first base tonight. Cubs leading 1-0 on that Rizzo home run in the first. 2 gone here in the 6th for Starlin Castro. And that will trickle into left field, a base hit. Castro's second hit in 3 times up. Big at bat coming up right here for Cueto and the Reds. It'll be Luis Valbuena, who was flied out to Ryan Ludwig. That was in the first inning, and struck out swinging against Johnny in the 4th. 1 run, 4 hits for Chicago. Reds have been shut out on 2 hits by Travis Wood. Cueto is fan 7, walked 1, and needs the out here. Ball 1. A long look in, okay's a sign, and now a throw that hit the base runner Coghlan. And he advances on to third on a throwing error by Cueto. Clearly missed with communication right there.
Yeah, he may have thought that he saw Zach Kozar put a sign on. Sometimes it can be just as easy as, you know, picking at your shirt or your pant leg. But even Kozar's kind of covering up over that.
On the outside corner, and it's 1-1 on Valbuena. Straight up in the air, and this shit in the inning. Jay Bruce waits and will. The Cubs strand a pair. They get 2 hits in air in the inning. Reds trail after 5.5 by a run.
The post-game edition, most expanded Reds highlights you'll see anywhere. You'll hear from the manager before anyone else. Other reaction and more. It's Reds Live Postgame is brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. I'm Jim Day. This is an anniversary of sorts for Brandon Phillips, who's due up third in this inning. Today, he becomes a 10-5 guy. Now, what that means is 10 years of service in the league and 5 years with the same team. Now, what comes along with that? You can ixnay any trade that comes along. There was a lot of talk in the offseason about Brandon Phillips possibly being traded. As far as we know, he loves being a Cincinnati Red. So you Brandon Phillips fans out there, probably going to be here for the long haul, guys.
All righty, Jim Day, thank you very much. Reds have a top of the order coming up here in the bottom of the 6th inning against Travis Wood, trailing 1-0.
Well, that's a milestone for a player to get to that 10-5 status.
Sure is.
I mean, some guys have no trade clauses in their contract right from the start if they have a long-term deal.
Straight up in the air by Billy, slams his bat to the deck. That's the 3rd time in a game tonight that Hamilton has hit the ball in the air, and that is obviously not his strength.
It's almost by design from Travis Wood. He keeps firing those high fastballs, and Hamilton keeps going at him, and there's no way you're going to hit the top half of that baseball.
Frazier has one of the 2 Reds hits in the game. He had a single in the first inning. And the other hit belongs to Cozart, who had a 2-out single in the 5th. Up and away, and now the count goes to 3-0 on Todd Frazier. High fly ball. Boy, Frazier just missed that one. He'd love to have it back. He takes a hearty rip on 3-0 and just got a little bit too far underneath it. Well, Reds fans, we invite you to celebrate German Heritage Day at Great American Ballpark. That's coming up Saturday, September the 6th. If you come early and be one of the first 20,000 fans through the gate, you'll receive a Reds Stein presented by Hops House 99. We'll have the 4 for $48 ticket offer going on. You get 4 tickets for $48 plus a $15 Hofbrauhausen voucher. Well, that's a good deal. Call 381-REDS for more information. Phillips a ground ball, and that's a 1-2-3 inning with the top of the order for Travis Wood. On our way to the 7th, 1-0 Chicago. One-0 ball game with Chicago in front. Johnny Cueto on top of his game again tonight. He's only allowed 4 base hits. Well, there's not much you can do if your team doesn't score any runs, and that's the case at least through the front 6 against Travis Wood. Caesar to lead things off. He took over for the injured Sweeney, who tweaked a hamstring running up to first base back in the 2nd inning. Caesar's only at bat. He drew a walk and was forced out at second base.
He's been a catcher, and he also mentioned that he was a football player. In fact, he was the MVP of the game that when he led Villanova to the FCS championship back when the NCAA had a 1AA division. And he was a legitimate NFL draft prospect. But really what he's most known for is the fact that he was a donor, a bone marrow donor, and the odds of being a match for this one patient was 1 in 80,000. It was a young girl, a 10-year-old girl, and he gave up that bone marrow, and he had to do all sorts of medical preparation before and after the bone marrow donation.
Good for him.
And he was almost going to miss that championship football game, and he said, you know, it doesn't matter. If I can help someone save their life, I will do it. So the Cubs signed him. They signed him to a contract that originally had a clause in there that if he decided not to go to the NFL Combine, that he would get an extra $500,000. They didn't want him tempted to go to the NFL. An all-purpose back, kind of like a Wes Welker.
That ball is clobbered into right field off the bat of Alcantara, and it is a 3-0 ball game. Boy, that's a big one right there. That is a big one. Only his 5th.
Yeah, this is the way Johnny Cueto, when he does give up runs, it seems like this. That ball's out of the zone. I'm not sure how Alcantara is able to even hit that ball. But you don't see Johnny Cueto pitch an inning in which he's giving up, 2 or 3 hits in an inning and a walk and a hit bat or something like that. He's a tough guy to get several hits in an inning off of, but that little bloop and a blast right there, and he Cubs have a 3-run lead. That's the kind of pitch you're taught to lay off.
Boy, 1-0 becomes 3-0 just like that. Wellington Castillo has grounded to second and struck out. And that's on the inside corner. He struck out a second time. That's 8 of them for Johnny Cueto.
Bill Miller's got hitters from both teams kind of complaining to him. That's when you know you've got a good night going.
Johnny Cueto tonight is his 14th start where he has struck out 8 or more batters. Only Mario Soto and Jim Maloney have had more in a season pitching for the Cincinnati Reds. Mario Soto has the club record for such games in '82 when he fanned 19. He had 15 such games in '83. Off the end of the bat, and Travis Wood with a base hit. Jim Maloney had 17 of them in 1963. And Sam LeCure is up and throwing now in the Reds bullpen. Swung on and fouled out of play off to the third base side to the leadoff man, Chris Coghlan. Way to the pause, and now the pitch. And that one just off the glove of Pena, but Travis Wood not going anywhere over there at first base. 2-1 to Chris Coghlan, who had a hit his third time up. That came an inning ago. It hit the right knee of the home plate umpire, Bill Miller.
If it would have been an advancement by the runner, it probably would have been a pass ball. Here's an oddball stat for you on Johnny Cueto this year. He has not thrown one wild pitch all year long. Now, part of that, of course, is due to the fact that he's got a guy behind the plate that's blocking everything he throws in the dirt. That's a rare one that gets by Brian Pena there.
Two and one on Coghlan, and Johnny to the plate. Fastball sails up and away. .95 pitches in the game for Johnny Cueto. Allows a 2-run home run in this inning and trails 3-0, and now he walks Coghlan. So he's allowed a single, a home run, got an out, allows a single and a walk. And Brian Price is coming out of the Reds' first base side dugout.
This doesn't necessarily mean, yeah, we are going to get a pitching change. We've seen Brian go out to talk to Johnny before, and he's got to be very disappointed, Johnny, considering how he has done in the past recently against the Cubs. Looking for an opportunity to be the first 16-game winner in the league. Not going to happen tonight.
This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Cueto leaves. Pitched a good one again tonight, but on the short end of a 3-0 game. Is outgoing Commissioner Bud Selig thinking about letting Pete Rose back into baseball? Plus, did you know Brandon Phillips helps design and name his gloves? And we'll look back at the emotional ribbon cutting ceremony at the P&G Urban Youth Academy. It's all tomorrow night at 6 o'clock on an all-new Reds Weekly right here on Fox Sports Ohio. We're in the 7th inning. Reds have scored. The Cubs have scored 2 runs and they lead 3-0 with 2 on and 2 out, and Sam LeCure takes over on the mound.
Not very often that you see Johnny Cueto relieved in the middle of an inning. Sam needs 2 outs to get out of it to hold the lead of 3.
Facing Baez, and maybe a bit of a surprise that Cueto would come out of the game, considering he had struck out Baez all 3 times up tonight. Johnny had 95 pitches in the game, so he will not become baseball's first 16-game winner. It was his second crack at it here tonight. One to Javier Baez. 7 home runs certainly look pretty good for Baez of his 17 hits. But boy, the rest of the numbers. This young man has only been in the big leagues for all of 20 games. He was brought up at the very beginning of the month. He has struck out 39 times in 85 at bats. There's a nasty breaking ball right there to get ahead 1-2.
It's another curveball that you don't see in the Florida State League.
Butcher nods his head in agreement to the sign given by Pena. 2 on, 1 out. And a tapper foul wide of third. It's still 1-2 on Baez.
You can see why the Cubs are hopeful for the future. That may not happen next year. I mean, they're talking about a long-range plan with all the young players that they got over and the trades that they made, the minor league free agent signings that they have made, the international free agent signings, and then top round draft picks like Baez.
He has struck out for the 4th straight time tonight.
You slowed his bat down by back-to-back curveballs. And then you throw him a fastball, and even though it's only 88, 89 miles an hour by Sam LeCure, it looks like it's about 188. And throws it right there where he sees it good, but just can't get around on it in time.
Well, he takes that bat with him, too, all the way down to the end of the dugout.
Probably takes it back to the hotel. I mean, it's the kind of young kid that just loves baseball. It's going to be a learning curve for him, but I'll tell you what, anybody that has that kind of power potential, it's the kind of power that makes certain scouts drool.
Well, it's going to be interesting. You know, you look inside this National League Central Division already this year. And, of course, you have, 3 or 4 of the most highly ranked prospects in all of baseball. Gregory Polanco,
who just got sent
to the minor leagues. Oscar Taveras may not be all that far behind. Of course, they traded away Alan Craig, and they really don't have anybody to take that spot right now, but it's been a rough go for him, too. There's a ground ball down to first, and a great job turned in by Sam LeCure. Cubs get a pair and lead 3-0. $1 ticket offer. It's coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, September 5th, 6th, and 7th. The Reds will take on the Mets here at the ballpark. Well, you get 4 tickets for $48, and you receive a $15 Hofbrauhaus voucher. So call 513-381-REDS or log on to Reds.com/4for48 or select Kroger locations for tickets. Take a look at our AT&T fan photo of the night. Look at that one. Sammy alongside Brian Pena in the Reds dugout. That's a great shot. Good stuff, Sammy. Thank you very much. And surprisingly, the Cubs are going to their bullpen. They'll bring on Neil Ramirez, who has just had an outstanding year.
Well, maybe surprising if you don't know how well the Cubs bullpen's going, especially as of late. I mean, they're one of the best bullpens in the league right now. In the last 28 ball games, their bullpen has a 1.6 earned run average. In fact, right now they're working on more than a 13-inning scoreless streak. So Neil Ramirez is the first one out of the pen here.
Wood had barely worked up a sweat in this game tonight. That's a Cub bullpen, the numbers that Chris was just talking about. 1.69 over the last month plus.
Whew. It's a pretty dandy combination of pitches right there. 94 on the inside corner, then a changeup that just tails away from a left-hander, and you get that kind of swing out of any left-hander any time on that. And then a curveball.
That's good morning, good afternoon, and good night to Jay Bruce. 3 pitches, he is gone.
That might be another changeup. Man, oh man.
Now, they brought Ramirez up for the first time in the major leagues back at the end of April. He wound up going on the disabled list with a sore right triceps. And his return from a DL pretty much coincides with the numbers you just saw a moment ago. I mean, since he's been activated, this guy is averaging over 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. And now Ryan Ludwig. Well, that's gas right there, 95 miles per hour.
This is where scouting is so important for even a ball club that has been down around the bottom of the standings. You've got some good veteran players that you're going to trade away. You got to make sure that you know other teams in their minor leagues very well, and that's what happened with the Cubs and the Rangers. They got Neil Ramirez in that deal that sent Matt Garza, frontline pitcher, to the Rangers in August of last year. The Cubs got a bunch of players: Justin Grimm, Mike Olt, Ramirez, and a pitcher named C.J. Edwards.
Yeah, Grimm has just been okay. He leads them in relief outings, but an earned run average up over 4, but has gotten better, much better. In fact, he's been really good after a bumpy start.
This is the kind of kid, though, that you say he's got a high ceiling.
Yeah.
Because those are 2 quality pitches. When you can separate the speed, 94 and 78, you've got something.
That's the kind of guy you're thinking about a closer one day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, Chris, when you think about it, he just blows away Ludwig. So back-to-back strikeouts. You know, Chris, with all due respect to Matt Garza, I mean, Matt Garza is what he is. There are games when he is dynamite, but he is wildly inconsistent. And he's basically a 500 pitcher, is what Matt Garza has been and might always will be. Who knows? But it gives you an idea of what you can get in a trade for what other teams perceive to be a good pitcher. What does that mean you get for a great pitcher? And there have been, rumors and what's true and what isn't true, about what the Reds are going to do leading up to this past trade deadline. What will they do at the end of this year, knowing they have 3 of their top starters in Johnny Cueto, Matt Latos, and Mike Leake, all eligible for free agency at the end of next season. That's where you hit the nail on the head. If, as an organization, you make the decision that we are going to trade away pitcher A, pitcher B, or pitcher C, or all three of them, you better make sure you hit the long ball on those deals.
Or at least, yeah, you got to get one guy that turns out to be a stud player.
Stud. And more than that. Because generally, you just talked about, they got 4 players for Matt Garza. 3 of them were the major league club this year. And 2 of them are contributing regularly to what is blossoming into a very good bullpen right now. You start dangling guys out there that are considered to be great pitchers or potential great pitchers. What does that bring? And it's not to suggest for a second that the Reds should do anything or shouldn't do anything. That's somebody else's job. But it's certainly food for thought. And that is see you later. 3 batters in a row against Neil Ramirez. The fans decide. Chevy dealer today. And by Cincinnati Children's Hospital, who ranks 3rd in the country on U.S. News and World Report's 2014 Best Children's Hospitals in America. Welcome back to downtown Cincinnati's Great American Ballpark. End of 7. Cubs in the opener of this 3-game series with a 3-0 lead. What a great job by Sam LeCure. He retired the final 2 batters of the 7th inning. And for LeCure, as Logan Ondrusek takes over on the mound. In LeCure's career, only 19% of 119 inherited base runners have scored. That is the lowest in Reds history.
That is incredible.
Yep. Tell you what a valuable pickup Sam LeCure turned out to be for the Reds. Solid draft pick. And really the Reds had the luxury of letting LeCure find his niche. You know, when he came up here that first year, you know, he was starting seemingly against former Cy Young Award winners every time he took the mound.
Right.
That's not an exaggeration. He faced 4 or 5 of them that year, and 1 or 2 of them a couple of times inside his own division. And he pitched the ball very well. But the Reds, you know, they had him pitching long relief, and then he earned his way up a little better than that, maybe pitching in the 6th, then the 7th. And we've seen him do everything. We've seen him set up. He has just done an outstanding job for the Reds organization. 2-2 on Starlin Castro. He'll lead off the Chicago 8th inning. 3 runs, 7 hits for the Cubs. 5 of their hits came in the last 2 innings against Johnny Cueto. Cueto walked 2, fanned 8 in his 6 1/3 innings, and there's strike 3 to Starlin Castro.
Now there's a split finger fastball. That's what he uses as his changeup. Well, you combine that with that downward plane that he has. That ball's going straight down.
Two on Valbuena. To the count on Luis Valbuena. Pull to the right side and into right field, a base hit. 1 out and 1 on here in the Chicago 8th inning with a 3-0 lead. We invite you to come on out to the Tin Roof before the game with us tomorrow night. You can meet Fox Sports Ohio girl Christine and try your luck with the Home Run Derby Challenge. It's all happening tomorrow at 5:30 at Tin Roof in downtown Cincinnati. We talked about Christine. She is a delightful young woman. Very bright, very smart. Grew up just north of Cincinnati. She brought her mom to the booth one day. I think you'll enjoy saying hello to her tomorrow night over at the Tin Roof. One away from Matt Caesar. Caesar started that 3-run, 2-run 7th inning. They were threatening for more than that. He had the base hit in front of Alcantara, who had the home run to right field to take it from a 1-0 Chicago lead to 3-0, and that's where we stand here an inning later. Straight up in the air, and that one will drift out of play. Fans giving it to one of their own down there about the effort going after that foul ball. Tough crowd. One and one on Caesar. Short right, Bruce is there, 2 away in the inning. How is Bubbles Welsh doing over there?
Bubbles is found her a nice soft spot in her own personal travel bed, and she's chilling out.
Yeah, but she's sleeping with her legs crossed.
What does that mean?
You brought her up here and she has nowhere to go to the bathroom.
Oh, we sent her out for a little potty break, and you know what they say. We gave her a chance.
Gave her a shot.
Jesse's walking around with a roll of paper towels waiting.
Nissan drive of the game 1 inning ago. Well, look where that pitch was. That made it our current count of 3-0. It was 1-0 until that Chicago 7th inning. Switch hitting center fielder. Playing in his 42nd game. And swung on and fouled out of play. He has a base hit in 32 of the 42. And he's a guy a lot like a player they had at the beginning of this year, Emilio Bonifacio, who can play the outfield or the infield. He's made 27 starts in center field, 15 starts at second base. He had a game-winning solo home run 2 days ago against Baltimore. There's a swing and a miss, and Andrusik, a solid 8th, allows a hit, fans a pair. Reds will bat in the bottom of the 8th, trailing only 3-0. In Washington State, on to Colorado State, Colorado. North Dakota State at Iowa State. Fresno State takes on 15th ranked USC. That's all on Fox. It begins Thursday on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Reds will bat here in the bottom of the 8th inning against a new Cub pitcher. This has been the trio they're very excited about. Ramirez followed by Strop, and on to their closer, Rondon. See the numbers on Strop. Opponents hitting 181.
All three of the guys you mentioned, Tom, have very good arms. We saw Ramirez strike out the side, and it was really a mismatch when he got that fastball and overhand curveball over. Phillips, Ludwig, and Groen went down. Strop, he's got a little more major league experience. He's been around a while. They originally signed by the Colorado Rockies as an infielder. But after about 3 or 4 seasons of pro ball not being able to hit, they moved him to where he could be on the mound and made his way over here to the Cubs after being with the Orioles for 3 years.
One other change for Chicago. Javier Baez out of the game. And another one-time Red. Or I beg your pardon, they have taken Rizzo out of the game. Baez still at second base. And Chris Valleca takes over for Anthony Rizzo. You wonder if Rizzo's all right. I mean, I'm taking out Rizzo because he's a bad defender. He's a good defender. So if we get any word on Anthony Rizzo, we will certainly pass it along to you. That ball in the air into left field. There have not been many hard hit balls tonight. That was one of them. But it's allowed out. In fact, you'd have a very hard time finding more than 3 or 4 well-struck balls by Reds hitters tonight against Wood, Ramirez, and now Strop. Cozart had one of them with a single. That was their last hit. And their second hit of the game. It came back in the 5th inning. Pirates rally to beat St. Louis by a final count of 5-2. That ball in the air down the right field line, and room for Caesar. Like running into a wall, no big deal for that guy. We talked about his football background. Tell me the most famous football player to ever come out of Villanova, Chris Welsh.
Can't tell you that.
The most famous football player in recent memory. I mean, maybe there's somebody that goes way back. That would be Howie Long.
Oh. You probably worked a little bit with Howie Long along the way, did you
sure
not?
Have. Very impressive guy, man. He's got his act together. Skip Schumacher. Well, bat with 2 outs and nobody on. Howie Long was one of those guys, and I had never heard of a story like this, but I'm sure there's lots of them. As it's 1 ball and 1 strike. When he retired from the NFL, and of course he was playing for the Raiders out in Los Angeles at the time, and he was trying to figure out where he was going to raise his family. Of course, he has 2 sons right now playing in the NFL, and they are 2 outstanding players. But he's one of those guys that's all about making lists. You know, researching a list on this, researching a list on that. What's the best in this thing, best in that thing, whatever it was. And he searched far and wide about where to move his family to raise his kids, him and his wife. Here's a bunt. And fielded by Stroh. His throw is down the line. And Schumacher down 3 is going to stay right there. And if you're wondering where he settled, he ended up settling in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Now, if you've ever been to Charlottesville, you can see why he would settle there. That's a beautiful place. That's a beautiful bunt, too, if you're Skip Schumacher. He lays it down there. Stroke really ought to stick in his pocket. But the former infielder in him takes over. And he's thinking, I've made this play before, probably coming in from third base, underhand, and Chris Faleka nearly gets taken right into the baseline and run over by the runner Schumacher. But no error because it was an infield hit. He didn't get the second base.
Now Billy Hamilton has hit the ball in the air all 3 times up tonight. And trying to bunt his way on, and that baby will stay foul. Now trying to set the table. You'd love to have Frazier come to the plate here with a chance to tie the game with 1 big crack of the bat. And Billy Hamilton, of course, has to get on base for that to happen. To Billy, and it's too low. A ball and a strike. Right down the middle to get ahead 1-2. You were doing a little research here, weren't you, on Villanova football players? Brian Westbrook, is that another one you came up with?
That's about the other big name of recent time.
Yeah, he was a great player.
Yeah.
Great player. Villarreal getting loose along with Orsino, who would be making his major league debut if he comes into the game tonight. 3-2 now on Billy.
Well, this could get real interesting right here. You lose Hamilton.
Frazier leads the team in home runs. He has 22 of them. 3-2 to Billy Hamilton. Schumacher takes off, and it's swung on and fouled out of play. Ryan Price's team has only managed a total of 3 hits in a game tonight. They have just 4 base runners. But if they can find a way to get Todd Frazier to the plate, and he will bat, representing the tying run here in the 8th.
Well, that's a really good at bat by Billy Hamilton. The more you like to see out of Hamilton. Fouled off a couple of very tough pitches. Chris Bosio will make his way to the mound.
Bosio taking plenty of time to get there. Just now you see arriving. And the entire Chicago infield of Valbuena, Castro, Baez, and Valleca, along with battery mate Castillo and pitcher Strop. Well, the starting pitcher comparison tonight, Travis Wood was just sensational. There's no other way to describe it. He was throwing strikes right from the get-go and never stopped throwing them. Fanning 5, walking only 1, allowed 2 hits. But they got him out of there at the end of 6. Cueto right now, the pitcher of record for the Reds. Although hoping to get Johnny off the hook is Frazier and company. Tried a single to right, fly to center, and just missed hitting a ball out of the ballpark on a 3-0 pitch in the 6th inning. Dribbler on the third base line, making the play Valbuena, and that's a good play. And that'll end the inning. Reds getting shut out 3-0 as we go to the 9th. The game. Zach Cozart, this beautiful play in the top of the 2nd inning. Look how far he went to get that ball. How about that? That's a great look right there. That's our John Morrell hot dog play of the game. Zach Cozart's been making those plays all year long. He'd be the first to admit that from an offensive standpoint, this has not been nearly the kind of year he hoped to have. But when it comes to defense, he can never be accused of being one of those guys, and you really see a lot of them, that carry a bad season at the plate into the field. He has been spectacular at shortstop.
Well, the guy really gives credit to his time at Ole Miss when he was down there. He worked with an assistant coach named Dan McDonald, who's now the head coach at the University of Louisville. And he said they used to have these games during infield where they would grade the infielders while they're taking ground balls. And Kozar did not want to run at the end of every practice. So he made it sure that no one else outfielded him. Because ever since those days, that was for the times that he deserved, or he put his designs on being the best fielder possible.
And what a job that coach has done in Louisville.
He's done a good job. No,
he's done a great job.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've been, what, World Series, 3 of the last 5 years?
That guy's done an incredible job.
Taking that program to a whole nother level.
Oh, yeah. That's big league.
Well, big league now for Daniel Corsino. We've seen him in spring training in the major leagues, but never in a real game. And he throws his first major league pitch, a strike, and a breaking ball. Who would have ever thought that about Corsino?
Now, Chris, this is a young man we have heard so much about. Some have likened Corsino when he had a great minor league season a couple of years ago. We were given some of those numbers the other night when he first got brought up to the major leagues. He had an outstanding year 2 years ago. And some were calling him a Johnny Cueto clone. But then last year he really fell upon hard times. And this year's been on again and off again, but I'll tell you what right now, that's as impressive a first batter in the big leagues as you will find from any pitcher. 3 pitches, a strikeout.
Well, they probably asked. I mean, Wellington Castillo was probably saying, all right, well, what does this guy have? And they probably all said, oh, well, we know him. He's got a great arm. And what does he do? He throws them sliders, and not only throws them sliders, but he locates them.
I mean, some might say that, Corsino has gone backwards from where he was a couple of years ago. But you have to remember, some guys are just a little bit later bloomers, and sooner or later, everybody is going to have the one bad year. I mean, whether it comes for you in the minor leagues or happens in the major leagues. 1-1 to Chris Valaika. Fastball, good one, good location on the outside corner to get ahead of Valaika. 1-2. Chris, looking forward, we've heard so much about Lorenzen and Stevenson and Lively and guys like that, starting pitchers, highly touted young starting pitchers in the Red system, but perhaps with those names it's easy to overlook Corsino. And who knows, maybe spring training next year, depending on how the whole thing shakes out. You never know.
I really believe, Tom, that it's good that one of your prospects has a bad year, because then you really find out what they're made of. I mean, anybody can play well when things are going their way. But when you got knocked down a couple of pegs, and all of a sudden you see other players talked about more than you, and they're beginning to move by you in the depth chart, then you find out what you got as far as a character. And obviously Daniel Corsino, listen to his advisors, listen to the coaches that he has down there, and took a look at it in the mirror and said, you know what, I've got the talent. I want to be there with the guy that they compare me to, Johnny Cueto.
Well, he's coming off a great start. His last time out pitching for Pensacola down in Jacksonville, that was just a couple of days ago. He went 7 innings, allowed 3 hits, 2 runs, struck out 7. And he has skipped AAA as he is brought straight up from AA. So what a way to celebrate your 24th birthday. Then your big league debut and a 1-2-3 big league debut. Happy birthday, Daniel Corsino. Congratulated by Brian Pena. Why not? Birthday today, and we'll celebrate with him our Miller Time moment. Daniel Corsino makes his major league debut. Strikes out Wellington Castillo. Strikes out Chris Valenka. And makes it 3-up, 3 down on a fly ball off the bat of Chris Coghlan. And look at Brian Payne to come over there. He knows what a special moment that is for young Daniel Corsino. Well done, young man.
Boy,
congratulations.
Floating on cloud nine right now.
Well, he looked good doing it, too, didn't he?
Boy, you're not kidding about that. Very impressive. I mean, I saw pitches out of him that we have not seen in his previous appearances down in spring training. So he's come a long, long way. Another guy that's come a long, long way is this young man, the closer now for the Cubs, Hector Rondon. Rondon was a Rule 5 draftee picked up last year. So he has to stay in the big leagues all year long, and he has converted 6 consecutive saves, and he picked up his 20th save of the year on Friday against the Baltimore Orioles.
So yeah, that's good scouting. I mean, no different than the Reds in getting Alfredo Simon off the waiver wire the day before opening day.
Very similar.
It's a different concept, dramatically different, in fact. And when you pick a guy off the waiver wire, you can do anything you want with him. You can have him for 10 minutes and turn him loose. But as Chris mentioned on the Rule 5 draft, the last impactful Rule 5 draft player the Reds had was Jared Burton. And he has carved out a very nice career for himself. Pitching in Minnesota. Sinking liner. White ball hit right on the screws by Brandon Phillips, but into the mid of Caesar. 1 out in the Reds' 9th inning. Reds have been shut out 11 times this year. And of course, they were shut out the very first game of this homestand, 8-0 by Julio Teheran and the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta lost again tonight, falling to the New York Mets. Final count of 3-2. One to count on Jay Bruce. Up and away. We're at the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Reds trailing 3-0. And a fastball right at the knees, 97 miles per hour. Bruce is lined to second, drawn a walk, and struck out. On Jay Bruce, and Rondon delivers, swing and a miss, and that's all for Bruce, and the Reds are down to their final out.
Well, not only does Rondon throw 97, he's got a nice little breaking ball. Look where he keeps both of them. A little slider right there, good downward break. I can see why this Cubs bullpen has posted the kind of numbers that they have. Came into this ball game boasting 13 2/3 innings straight scoreless baseball, and they have added to it.
Ryan Ludwig the batter. Slider is low, ball 1. Like our producer of Reds Baseball tonight, Brian Hunterman. Our director is Roy Alphonse. Associate producers Lauren White, Matt Sigafus. Our Reds Live producer is Kent Weaver. Our coordinating producer Bob Pennell. Executive producer is Tom Farmer. We thank our entire Fox Sports Ohio crew. Up here in the booth, Jim Strickler, Jesse Jackson, and our statistician Joel Lucker. And even Bubbles coming along. ready to take a long, quiet snooze.
I guess the lucky bow tie on Bubbles didn't work tonight.
Well, you at least got to give it a go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bubbles is going to resemble a racehorse in about 10 minutes from now, if you get Bubbles in the right spot.
Well, as long as the grass is dried by the time we get out there. She doesn't like wet grass.
Yeah.
She likes silk pillows.
Yeah. Been waiting about 3.5 hours. 2-2 pitch, and that one popped up. And it's in the glove of the second baseman Baez. The Reds are gone in order. Travis Wood, Neil Ramirez, Pedro Strop, Hector Rondon combined on a 3-hit shutout as the Cubs win the opening game of this 3-game series by a final count of 3-0. The Reds slipped to 63-69 on the year. 3-0 our final. Wood the winner, Cueto the loser, Rondon the save. Time